This is James Millett. He was my neighbor for over a year. One hot summer day in '99, we sat down, had a few drinks, and talked about his life on Hancock Street.
Well, my name was James Millett. I was born in Bangor, Maine in 1916.
Called?
Those two houses down the bottom there. That was my grandfather's property. And my father and my mother lived in this one on the right-hand side there. And that's where I grew up. I grew up down there, you know. And my grandfather was a tinsmith. He had a tin shop down there. And he used to make tea kettles, boiler makers, stove pipes, anything that anyone needed on the sheet metal, see. And that's what he did for a living. Plus he bought and sold lumber, not lumber, but scrap metal, anything. He made a living any way he could at that time. That was the way the time was. He was a great man. He loved children. He loved children. Matter of fact, he had two big beer barrels in the cellar. And some of the kids, they let them go through the house like they were, like I do now. Mm-hmm. And they went down cellar and they turned on the tap on the beer barrels and flooded the cellar with foam from the, because when you, that kind of beer turned into foam, you know. And you turn the tap on and nothing but cream come out.
Was it under pressure in the barrel?
No. It developed its own pressure.
I see.
And so it was all over the cellar. You'd think he'd want to kill those kids, but he didn't. He didn't. That church was built in the 1800s. I don't know what the exact date was. But my grandfather had something to do with it. Raising the money and bringing up the whatever, you know. Because he was a Catholic, and all the people in that neighborhood were Irish Catholics, except for the Jews that were there. There's a lot of Jews there. And that's the way it looked then, you know, all those houses. And a lot of Jewish families scattered in through among them, see? And it was a good neighborhood. Matter of fact, my grandfather, the people above there, the Goldmans, between them and the church, mm-hmm. when they had Passover, you know, they would give him wine from the Passover. It was good. It was wonderful. Well, that's all gone now.
Okay.
That's all gone.
Right.
Miner's shoe factory was built right there. My grandmother sold her property to miners at the time. Then they built their shoe factory. And now it's a big parking lot and everything else there. All those houses in back are gone. It's just gone. And that was Ward 1 at the time.
Let's talk about moonshiners.
Moonshine?
Yeah.
Well, almost everybody on Hancock Street that could afford it bought booze. It was imported from Canada in little tin cans, you know, 3-gallon cans. And then they split it down into half-pint bottles, pint bottles, or whatever, and they sold it, especially to the guys coming out of the woods that were looking for something like that, you know. And that's how they made their living. Without that, they wouldn't have made a living. It was not all of them, but I mean, a pretty good percentage. And my father, this gentleman here, he sold beer. He went to jail for selling beer. See? I remember when he went to jail.
Tell me about that.
Other than that, I don't know anything more about it.
You don't remember, you just remember him going to jail?
I remember him going.
Mm-hmm.
I remember going down with my mother to visit, you know. I never saw him, but he was in there. And she used to bring him whatever. And I had no idea what the hell it was all about, you know.
Because it was never talked about afterwards?
No, nothing. Nothing. That's true.
Do you remember how long he was in jail?
He was in there for, well, let me think. I mean, it wasn't long. No, I can't remember. Bangor jail.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember how long.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't too long. Couldn't have been. Yeah. But all that did to him was keep him off his job where he worked. That's all it did.
Took money away from your family?
Took money away from the family. That's all it did.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't do any good. I thought it was a kind of a stupid thing, you know, at the time. Of course, a lot of that is a lot of stupid.
Mm-hmm. Like there?
Huh?
What was the winter time like there?
Winter? Well, in the winter it was cold. And we used to have to get coal to keep the fire going. When I was about 8 years old, I used to go down the railroad track. That railroad track, and pick coal in a hod, in a hod, and carry it back to the house so my mother could keep the fire going all day and bake beans for supper. I used to do that. And I was about 8 years old then, 7, 8, whatever. I wasn't too big or too strong at the time. But I used to go down the railroad track, and the engineers on the railroad that run the engines, they knew me. I don't know how they ever knew me, but they knew me. Probably from seeing me all the time, you know. And they'd get me in the engine, and they let me drive the engine back and forth. That's the first time I ever drove a railroad train. And I drove it from the railroad station back up, and I drove it back down. And every time they saw me, they'd throw stuff out on the ground so that I'd pick it up.
Throw stuff like what?
Coal.
Coal, okay.
That I wanted, see?
Mm-hmm.
They knew that's what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to pick it up, put it in the pail, carry it home, give it to my mother. We had coal all day long. I used to carry, when I was, 10 years old, I used to bring cows across that bridge. 6 or 7 cows that belonged to the Jewish families that had cows on Hancock Street and up there. I used to bring the cows across that bridge so they could milk them, you know, at nighttime. Then in the morning I'd bring them back to pasture, see? That's what we used to do. It's like a farm, you know. It was like a big farm, you know.
Yeah.
My grandfather had a garden in back of the 2 houses there where we had all of our vegetables that we could grow, so forth. And those foundations of those houses. You see that red foundation?
Yep.
My grandfather used to pay the masons when he built them houses. Every day, for whatever work they did, he'd pay them every day before the houses were built. I don't know what happened before that, but I mean, in other words, they got a day's pay for every day they worked on those bricks. Yeah, I learned to swim in front of that river, and under that river, and above that river. Oh, yes.
Many boats used to come up that river, Jay?
Huh?
Did many boats used to come up the river?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I've been up that river 1,000 times with canoes and boats, sailboats. Even in the wintertime, I used to have a sailboat, ice boat, that I used up and down there, you know. But the National Guard, Coast Guard used to come up and break the ice all the way up to that bridge, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then they'd get down. Oh, yes, I remember that. Gee. That was quite a show, too, you know.
Yep.
Yeah. I used to jump off those bridges. I didn't do it many times, but I did it.
Mm-hmm.
The railroad used to run along above the bridge there, on the bank of the river.
Right.
Yeah. Just like it shows you here, you know.
Yeah.
But I didn't put it all in there. And I met my wife. She came from up in Mattawamkeag, up in that area, you know. I'm not sure exactly. And of course she died a little over a year ago. A year and a couple of months. And she's gone now. And I miss her so much that you can't even believe it, you know. Of course, we were together for 60-some-odd years.
It's a long time.
It's a long time. And when you're with somebody 60-some-odd years, it ain't easy to get over, you know. That's the way I feel, anyway. And she was great. She was a great woman, a great wife. Because I haven't felt like doing anything. I've lost all my interest that I should have had, you know.
When do you think that happened?
Huh?
When did that happen for you?
My wife died. That put an end to everything, you know. And she knows it. She knows that. But you got to live through it, one way or another. She knows that. I think she's great. I think she's great. She's coming to see me every now and then. She puts up with it, you know. Good. I miss her. I miss her like you wouldn't believe.
I bet.
Huh?
I bet.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, I miss her.
Feels like a part of you is gone.
Huh?
Feels like a part of you is gone.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Feels like you lose everything. You know, you can't lose everything. No, you can't lose everything. You might think you can, but you can't.